Welcome back to another exciting episode of Cooking with Bosler at Home. Today we're going to make a pan-seared chicken with mashed potatoes and green beans topped with a berry balsamic glaze. It's going to be delicious. Here are the ingredients we're going to have. Alright, so the first things we're going to want to get started out with are our berry sauce and our mashed potatoes. So we're going to get our berries in a pot here. We're going to let that heat up over medium heat. And then we're going to get our cut potatoes in some water and we're going to start boiling that. While those get going, we're going to season up our chicken and start frying it. Alright, so we got our 4 chicken breasts. We're going to season those up and we're going to keep it really simple. We're just going to do some salt. Pepper. And garlic powder. Alright. And we're going to flip them and do the other side. And I also want to preheat the oven to about 425. After we sear these for a little bit, we're going to move them into there to finish off. Alright, now that our pan is nice and hot, I'm going to add some canola oil in there and drop in the chicken pieces. Alright, now that we got our chicken cooking, we're going to let that sear on each side about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we're going to pop it in the oven for about 10. Once the potatoes start to boil, we're going to reduce the heat and let that boil for about 10-15 minutes until those potatoes get nice and tender. Now our berries, once they start cooking, we'll start to see that nice juice form. And we're just going to keep letting that simmer off to the side there. Now the other thing we want to do is get our water boiling for our green beans, because we're just going to quickly blanch those and then finish them off in our hot skillet here. So as we keep waiting for everything just to cook a little bit more, I'd like to tell you about a new program coming up starting this Saturday, August 1st, called Kids in the Kitchen, where we're going to do some nice simple recipes that parents can enjoy with their children. This Saturday, our first one's going to be making some ice cream in a plastic bag. It's going to be a lot of fun and definitely something you're going to want on these hot summer days. We got some other exciting programs coming up in August as well, so please check out some of these exciting virtual programs coming to a library near you. Now that our chicken has a nice good sear on both sides, we're going to take this and we're going to shift it to the oven and let it finish cooking in there for about 10 minutes. Now we're going to come back to our berries, which are cooking off really good. So we're going to take a potato masher here and just squish those down and get all that juice out. We're just going to keep letting that cook. Back. Alright. Looks like our water is boiling for our green beans as well. So we're going to add those. And we're going to let those sit in the boiling water for about 5 minutes. And then we're going to move them into some cold water just to stop the cooking process. Alright, our chicken's in the oven finishing off. We got our potatoes here. They're nice and tender. They break apart pretty easily with a fork. So what we're going to do is we're going to strain those, and we're going to strain our berries just to keep the berry juice. And then we're going to set those off to the side, and by then our chicken should be just about done. Alright, just took our chicken out of the oven. It's looking good. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it on a plate off to the side here and let that rest while we finish off the potatoes, berry sauce, and the green beans. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of butter in the pan here, let that melt. Then we're going to drop our potatoes in here and mash them in the pan with some seasoning. And what we're also going to do is we're going to take our berry juice, put it back in our pan here, our pot, and add our balsamic vinegar. And then we're going to let that sit in a simmer over medium to low heat, and it'll start to reduce. And then what we're going to do once it's done reducing is we're going to put just a little bit, 1 tablespoon of butter in there, and then that'll be finished off, and it'll taste delicious. Alright, now that our butter is nice and melted, we're going to drop in our potatoes here. We're going to add some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and some chives. And another tablespoon or 2 of butter. Then we're going to take our masher and just mash it. And let that get nice and crispy. Alright, once our potatoes are nice and mashed and heated through, we're going to take those and put those on another plate. And then we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in our pan here and finish the green beans. Alright, for the green beans, we're going to add some olive oil in here. Drop our green beans in. We're really just crisping these up a little bit. We cooked them already when we boiled them. And again, add some salt, some pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder. Stir those around. We're going to check on our berry sauce here. That's nice and reduced. So what we're going to do, we're going to add a tablespoon of butter. And stir that in there and let that melt. Once these green beans are done, we're going to put everything together on our plate. Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of Cooking with Bosler at home. If you decide to try the recipe or you made some adjustments to it, please feel free to share it in the comments. See you next time. Enjoy.